0, 1, 1 here. How's it going? Yeah, so we are back on my little processor world thing here, right? And so I haven't really done too much with these things. I mean, I made it so that way these little pieces right here work, but not like the pieces that go to those pieces, so it's still kind of eh. I did decide that I wanted to tackle a full adder. So as you know, or may not know, a full adder, if you imagine this as a truth table, right? So your stone blocks here are zeros, your redstone blocks are ones, right? So and then over here, this is your output bit of your full adder, and then this is the carry, right? So you know how like if you add 1 to 9, I mean they're both like single digit numbers, but you get the carry of the 1, and that's what makes it a 10, right? So that's kind of the same thing here. So if you have all three inputs, now this also has a carry in, so it's going to be really difficult to explain. So if you like are curious about it, just kind of look it up, and I'm sure there are other people who would explain it better than I can. But truth table. So this is your A, your B, and then your carry in, right? So this is just pretty basic. There are 8 possible combinations because you have 3 inputs, and each input can only be on or off. So that means 2 possible states per 3 inputs. So then that's 2 to the 3rd power gives you 8. This is kind of how it is. If you count in binary, it's really, really easy to get all the combinations out here. So if this one is on only, if this one is on only, that would be this one here. And if this third one is on only, that would be this one here. If you have 2 of any of these on, either this one, or this one. Okay, so basically how this is going to work is if any input is on, and just one input, then your output should be a 1 out of your main output of the full adder. If you have 2 inputs that are high, then you should get a 1 in your carry and a 0 as your output, right? And then if you have all 3 that are high, like this, then you should get a 1 out of your adder, like the main output, whatever, and you should get 1 in your carry. So pretty basic addition. 1 plus 0 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. And that's just kind of how this all works out. So this is binary 2, so 1 plus 0 is 1, 1 plus 0 plus 0 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, so that's your 1, 0 as a 2, 0 plus 0 plus 1 is 1, and then so on and so forth, and then finally 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. Okay, so that is the job of a full adder. This is a very old full adder. This was one of the first ones that I ever found. I don't remember who made it. I know that it wasn't me. But this is basically how it works. So this is your carry in. This is going to be your A. This is going to be your B. This over here is going to be your carry out. And then this right here is going to be your main output. So how this works is if you put down a 1, then you get a 1 out of your output. If you have 2 of them lit, then your carry out becomes a 1, and then your main output becomes a 0. So that's your 1, your 0. And then that works with any of these. So same thing there. And then if you have all of them, then it just lights up both. Okay, so this is the one that I know works, but this is done with a bunch of repeaters and stuff and torches, and I think at the very least you've got 1 tick of delay from this guy here. So like if your carry in bit is on, then I don't know, then this goes through or something. I don't know. This thing is kind of mystifying how it all works. I don't know how they figured out how to do this, but it's pretty impressive. So this is going to be 5 blocks by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blocks. So 5 by 10. And then what I kind of tasked myself with is figuring out how to do all of this with command blocks. I did manage to do it, and it's got the same footprint, but the only problem is mine is 3 tall, whereas theirs is 2 tall. And I say 2 because you can't stack. Well, I mean, I suppose you could, but yeah, it's too tall. Mine is 3. So I was trying to figure out how to do it with command blocks, and after scratching my head for like an hour or so, I drew up this thing just to try to see if it'll help me figure anything out. And then I started thinking, it's like, well, why don't I just use the test for blocks command, right? And then just test, have one test for this one, have one test for this one, have one test for this one, so on and so forth, and then just change the output to whatever it's supposed to be. And so that's kind of what I did. I didn't want to have one centralized one, because then if you move this around at all, then you have to redirect all the command blocks to wherever your new truth table is going to be. And I didn't want to do that, so I opted to go 3 tall, which is what this is here, the third layer. And I just kind of put the truth table up on top. And that's kind of what all of this is. Now, the second layer is mostly empty. These quartz blocks here, they just get replaced with redstone. And so let's see. If any, and I also used these, what are those things called? Yeah, observer blocks, okay. Now this changes, so you see how that changed? And the observer block watches for this change, so whether it changes from redstone or to stone, it'll still run it, which is really, really good, because if we go from, let's say, the C being 1, and then, I don't know, let's say this one is like a 2 or like 1 or something, we want it to recalculate every single time any of these change, whether it's turning on or turning off. So that's why the observer blocks really, really worked here. These 2 observer blocks are both pointing into this block here. Okay, now what this is doing, this first one here, it's going to be cloning, I believe, this block here, and it's going to be putting it up here. This second block here clones this block here and puts it up here. And then this third one takes this block here and puts it up here. So that's what these 3 commands are doing. And then these 3 commands will always turn on every time these things, the observers, see any change in anything. Another good thing is it's relatively quick. I think it's actually faster than this one over here, even though it is more kind of bulky. And then these 2 command blocks here, these ones are setting the redstone here and the redstone here. So this one sets this one, and then that one over there sets these ones over here. And then, so all of these ones, when they turn into redstone, will turn on these command blocks here. And then these are all conditional ones. So like if this one, because this is basically testing for a condition, right? So this one is comparing these clone blocks up here to the first one here. If they match, then this one will run and this one will run. But seeing as how this is the only one that will match, because this is the only one testing for this condition right here, then none of the other ones will run. And so then the second one tests for the second condition, the third one tests for this one, fourth one, fifth one, sixth, seventh, and eighth. And so I've got 5 conditions over here, and then I've got 3 more conditions over here for a total of 8. And then these blocks here, all they're doing is they are either setting this block, so that'll be the second block, to either stone or redstone. And this one right here will change our carry block, which is going to be this one right here, to stone or redstone. Okay. Now, once we put the redstone here, we have to, turn it all back off so that we can keep triggering it. But we need to make sure that we don't turn them off immediately, because then some of these might not run. I don't know. Command blocks are kind of glitchy with how much of a signal for however much of a duration that they need to actually trigger. So I figured it was safer just to put a single tick of delay. So for this block here, when that puts all of these blocks and changes them to redstone, a tick later, it will then activate this one here, which then just changes all the redstone blocks to quartz blocks. And that's just using a replace command, so that way I don't have to do 2 individual ones for this set and this set. It's pretty easy. The thing that took the longest is putting in each of these individual things, and these are all relative coordinates. That way you can clone this entire thing and move it wherever it is you need to move it. So that's kind of cool. When this is all said and done, you will be able to have just a single space between them, and this is both your carry out of this full adder, and it'll also be your carry in of the next full adder. So basically this block becomes this block over here. So, and then this one right here, this is your main output block, and this one will just go onto another bus somewhere. Alright, I kind of wanted to do these vertically with a space between, because then you can run like one bus of data and then run another bus of data directly on top and then just go directly off into the full adders. But after playing with that for a little bit and seeing if I could actually get it to work vertically like that, it didn't really, work. So I figured horizontal, I mean, it's not the best, but it'll work. So that's kind of what I did. And then to show you how it works, I just put these little outputs on here. Hopefully that's long or short enough, I don't know. So that is the carry, this is your main output. So if you took this over here, so we got 1 plus 0 is 1. If we do this one, then that just changes over. And then so we've got 1, 0, so that's 2. And then if we do all 3, and that does the 3 right there. And then as you turn each of these off, okay. Wow, that was odd. Okay. So let's try this again. Like I don't know what happened. Minecraft just glitched out. So if we turn this, what the hell? Now nothing is working. All right. Wow. Okay. What are you doing, Minecraft? What are you doing? Hey, do you want to work now? Okay. So now we've got 2 inputs that are on. So we get 1, 0, which is 2. If we turn this one off, then we have 1 input that's on, so we get just the 1. And if we turn this one off, we get 0 as our output. Now, because we are checking for every single possible combination here, this one will work. And then I tested each of these things as I was putting them in and writing out the code for it. So they all work. So this will be the full adder that I will be using for my little processor thing, and then I've got to figure out, because I mean adding is real easy, right? You just take the 2 inputs, you put it into a bunch of full adders. I would need 8 of them because it's an 8-bit processor, and then you just get your output. Subtraction is a little different. I had to kind of figure out how binary subtraction works again. I mean, just kind of refreshing myself. So you take your first input or your second input, it doesn't really matter which one, and then you invert it, right? So if you have like 1, 0, 0, 0, then you would change it to 0, 1, 1, 1, right? And then you just run that through the adder, and then that output that you get, you then have to invert again. And so, I don't know, like if you're adding, I'll just draw this out for you. So if we are adding 3 to, let's just add it to 4. So 4 is going to be, no, not that one, this one, there we go. And then the answer that we get is pretty easy. It's 7, right? Now, if we wanted to subtract these, so like let's say that we wanted to subtract 3 from 4, this should be a 1, right? So what we would do is we would then invert this. So then this one becomes on, this one becomes off. This one we keep the same. And then we add these, right? Did I do this wrong? I might have done it wrong. Because with this we're going to get a negative. Well, no, that makes sense. Because over here we're doing 3 minus 4, so we're actually going to get a negative number. So we're going to change this around a little bit. And we're going to make this one... We don't want to get a negative number because then it's notated differently, like in binary. Like -1 is 1, 1, 1, 1. Like if you have 4 bits. And like -2 would be 1, 1, 1, 0, I guess. And it's just kind of confusing. Okay, so we will keep this one the same, and we will invert this one. We want to keep that one there. Okay, so this is 4. This is the inverse of 4. All we're doing is taking the zeros, changing them to ones, and then taking the ones, changing them to zero. That's all we're doing. Keeping the 3 the same. And then when we add these, what am I doing wrong? Am I doing something wrong? I might very well be doing something wrong. It's making my brain hurt. Okay, so why is this an issue? Because we end up with 5 bits as the answer. Well, actually that might work. I don't know. Okay, so 1 plus 1 is 0, right? And then we have to carry. Well, actually 1 and yeah, so then we carry. We've got 1, 1, and then the carried 1, so that should be this, right? And then we have another carry, so then that becomes a 1 as well. And then, let's see, then we take the 4 plus 0 is this. And then what we have to do is we take this whole thing. Now remember, this is the 5th bit. So then we invert that, and then we get this, but our 5th bit we don't really care about. So then what we end up with is 4 minus 3 equals 1. Confusing, I know, trust me, I know. I'm going to align these a little bit so that way it's better, I guess. So 5th bit we don't really care about. Adding 4 plus 3 equals 7, pretty simple. Subtracting, we take the 4, invert it, add that to 3, and then we add all of that up. That's what we get. And then we have to take this answer here and then invert everything. And so that's how we get that. And then we end up with this. So negative numbers, if it is like a negative number, like if I had done 3 minus 4, then this would have been open right there. And that's, I guess, a signifier that the number is negative. I don't know. Negative in binary math is kind of out there. But kind of just shows you how all this works. And then, yeah, so there it is. A little bit of binary math for you. If I did any of that wrong, let me know, make fun of me. Completely okay with that. I'm not the greatest at binary math, but hopefully when this is done, I don't have to worry about it because this will do it all for me. So, yeah. Full adder using command blocks. Is there another way to do it that might be less bulky? I am pretty sure that there is. I could not think of it in the little bit of time that I was working on this, but what I do have works, so that's what I'll be using until I figure out how to do it a different way. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it fits in the same footprint. So from here to here, and then it's also 5 wide. So it's got the same footprint as this, it's just a little bit taller. And so that's kind of where I'm at with this. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope I didn't confuse you too much. I know it confused myself. And yeah. Yeah, you know what? I'll just update you on the next video. Alright? Alright. Have a good night.